And initially, we asked them how much we were going to ask them how they're here. Other than the ones I know you're going to ask, like,
Are they both up for
ten,
both of them?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, that's why they're both being interviewed.
The four shift arrangement ended up, we had 3 officers. So the agreement was there'd be a 4th officer, and then there would be 4 privates. So what this will ensure, among other things, is A serves with B, C serves with D, that stays the same all the time. They had, the old days, they had resisted that.
All right, you're live streaming and recording, just so you are aware.
go around and see where that shape is.
You get the hot seat.
Gentlemen, this is Samuel Hussey.
All right, for the convening of this, firefighter Husky, please have a seat. For the convening of this board by the town council, we'll call to order this meeting of the council. There is a quorum of the council present, and our purpose here is to pose questions to candidates for the position of lieutenant in the fire department. We're happy to have firefighter Husky here with us, and just to put the pressure on with the people in the center seats, so we can all look at you as we ask you the question.
Very good.
And we're going to ask you questions, I'll ask you a series of questions.
Okay.
Any questions for us before we start?
I don't believe so.
All right, good. My first question to you is this: what is your most important trait for the new role of the lieutenant in the fire department? The trait that you have most important for this role of lieutenant?
I believe my most important role that I can bring to the new lieutenant position is compassion and fairness towards my fellow firefighters as well as the community.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that. How does it work itself out? The fact that you're compassionate and fair, and how does that bring advantage to our department?
I believe it can be an advantage. I'm sorry, I'm jumping.
Take your time. Not a problem.
I believe it can be an advantage to the community. I live in the community. I'm a member of the community. I embrace the close knit of this community. Being definitely the compassion towards the people in it, I think will go a long way, and as well as far as my fellow firefighters. If they bring a problem to my attention, listening to it, and seeing it through, making sure that.
And in your view, does that differ when you're the lieutenant as opposed to when you're the subordinate firefighter? Is there some way in which that's significant?
I believe so. Definitely going from a peer-to-peer role as opposed to an officer in a subordinate role. I feel that there's quite a difference. I think it'll be difficult. I believe again, if I'm compassionate and fair with those I work with, it can be beneficial.
Okay. Tell me what the most challenging part of being a lieutenant is going to be. What do you think is going to be the biggest challenge?
Like I stated previously, and I think the biggest challenge is going to be finding my place, going from, an equal level, where I'm a peer with one of my employees, going to that officer and subordinate role, while still keeping the friendship intact. I believe that I may have to start off stern. If I start off too gloomy, they may think that I'm friends with Lieutenant Hustle. That he might let this slide. I think if I start off in a firm way, that things will stay smooth. But I think separating that peer to subordinate role will definitely be the toughest.
Okay. Tell us what you've done to prepare yourself to be a lieutenant.
Over the past about 4 years, I have been there for at least 50% of my shifts. When we were doing the 2 10-hour days, and 2 14-hour nights, one of my shifts, I was I was working out of rank in the officer's position. And when in March, when we switched to the 24-hour shifts, I've been in the officer's position on deep routine. I've taken some classes, 1041 instructor, fire instructor. And that's
Okay. Let me ask you this, as you look back on your career in this department, what have you learned anywhere else? What have you learned from officers with whom you serve? Typically, when one serves as a we'll call it a private for sake of a discussion, you look at a set of officers and you say, when I get to be an officer, I'm going to be like that. Or conversely, when I'm an officer, that's something I'm not going to do. I'm not going to offer. Without getting into specific people or names,
absolutely.
what have you learned as you've gone through the career of being a firefighter that's going to inform you on how you're better off?
Over the past 6 years, I've learned from various officers, just my experience overall with different departments throughout the state as well as our own, that not everyone responds to training in the same fashion. I've seen people respond to the old, kind of stand back, let them make a mistake, and then correct them afterwards. And I've seen people respond to being, I feel like I'm favoring this side of it.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay. You're pulling it off well.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
This is the new COVID environment. We acknowledge we're trying to-
So you keep talking that way.
I see people learn more of a visual being led through the steps. I've seen them respond better that way. I've seen some officers that are more strict, in a sort of paramilitary kind of aspects, if you will, like a drill sergeant maybe. I've seen it work. I've seen it not work. So definitely kind of getting a feel for the situation for who I'm talking to, my private, if you will, and adapting to their needs.
Okay. You referred to it as the old way. I'm assuming this latter part you're saying that there's a new way, is that how you would see yourself operating in those environments? Would that be something that's important to you to be show them how to do it and then have them do it as opposed to get started, get it done, let me know when you're finished?
Absolutely.
Okay. One of the duties of the lieutenant in the Little Compton Fire Department are you most interested in? Either one that you hope you can be assigned, or one that you want to work for, or one you want to talk to the chief and say, hey, can I do this? Is there some facet of the department that you are particularly interested in?
I believe I think the most interested area would be kind of fire investigation in the textbooks I've read, regarding the different classes that I've taken, that portion of fire investigation, how the fire started, how finding the area of origin, what contributing factors has always kind of percolated up. And, I tend to pay attention to that. And I think that's definitely something that I want to be looking into.
Okay. I'm ready to deal the microphone.
I just gotta, no, you wanna go? Ahead? No, I'm just, part of becoming a lieutenant is you had to be eligible. What were the eligibility requirements that you fulfilled to become eligible for this position?
I believe the requirements that are spelled out in our promotional process is that I could be a continuous employee for 3 years and pass the written exam, the oral interview.
What were the educational requirements?
Educational requirements that helped me out were being firefighter 1, firefighter 2 certified, hazmat awareness and operations, driver operator, ACLS, which is advanced cardiac support.
That's all the people appreciate that.
And I've also taken my, as I stated earlier, my 1041, which is complete fire instructor. So I do have the ability. I'm certified to instruct small groups of people.
That's good.
So the question I got for you, Sam, is what makes you more qualified to become a lieutenant over Justin? We're in a hard situation here to decide who should be in lieutenant. So I need to know what would make you a better lieutenant than Justin would. In your viewpoint, what gives you a leg up on Justin to be the lieutenant?
I think something that's for question's sake that I may have with Justin is I live in town. I respond to calls when I'm on duty to help in many ways that I can. I care about this community. I'm part of this community, as I mentioned. So I want to have a lifelong career here. I want to make that 30-year benchmark as well as possibly maybe even become chief one day as well.
And that's what you think puts you a leg up. Now, as you know, only one of them is going to get in. So, do you think you would make a better lieutenant than Justin? It's almost the same question, but do you think you'd make a better question than Justin?
Truthfully, I believe that's a tough question.
Right.
We both have different.
Well, this is a tough situation for us because,
Absolutely.
one guy's going to be very happy, and one guy's going to, I'm not going to say unhappy, but I mean, they have to understand one guy's going to go forward, one guy's not.
Absolutely. We definitely both have different techniques.
Right.
We bring our own aspects of the job.
Okay, let me ask you. Let me ask you another question. If we were to put Justin in, how would your relationship with Justin key, but, you know, obviously very dedicated to the fire department. And we wouldn't want to say, oh, shoot, he got in, I did, so I'm going to be tough. Obviously, I don't think that's the person you want. But hopefully everything will say, well, you know, I guess this is a little bit better. So would that be the circumstance if we put Justin instead of you? I'm not saying that we are, because we still have to interview him. He's done very well. So,
I, as I think it was, well, one belt.
right,
I didn't get it, but I believe we're both strong candidates.
Right.
We're both definitely qualified for the position.
okay,
I think both of us would be tremendous outfit.
okay. That's what I'd like to hear. Okay. All right, I've got what I need.
I'm good, thank you. Let me ask you if you have any questions for us. You don't have to create one, we're not anxious to wait for one that you don't have, but if you've got something about our process, about how we do it.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
So Sam, you say you're living in town now. When did you move into town?
I moved into town in 2012, actually.
Okay.
Before I started, but my wife and I purchased a home in 2015.
Okay.
Overall, I have 2 children in the school system.
Yeah, I thought that you had said that you had relatives in town when we interviewed you originally. So,
But my wife grew up in town.
Okay.
She has many family members.
okay. All right. All right. Thank you, Justin. You've been very good. I mean, Sam.
Thank you.
Sorry. Use myself.
Sorry. Thanks. We will make a decision this evening. And let you
Very good.
vote.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Can't shake hands. This close, whatever.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Like the person in the library board, same thing. It's very difficult. Task, pick one over the other.
It's supposed to break tomorrow.
Change it, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to get rain in the afternoon, get a little bit cold.
Thursday's supposed to
Rain. Friday, get a little bit. It's looking not these.
Yeah, I noticed that at the last, the metal roof, that was going to be difficult, stuck in there. Beautifully closed the wall out, the next day.
Can't stay on top of it. I did. I didn't respond to it.
That's a good thing.
We were upstairs in the bar, I was just, something blew up downstairs, I don't know where you're gonna go with down there, something blew up. So, horses who run the railway, all the birds actively here.
We were on more Yorkshire boats, somebody kept asking me, two people asked me to feel the earthquake, I said, no, we were on boats, we didn't hear it. No, the engine, yeah, the engine was on it. I saw a big wake, but I don't think that was, I saw boats going by, there was a lot of activity that was calm.
That's what I felt when I was 50 years ago. Well, then, when it was about, the windows were out, that's the last time I was in the air.
Good afternoon. Please.
Gentlemen, firefighter, paramedic.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. So we thought we would alter the process a little bit, place the candidate in front of the camera, and in the center seat, and the rest of us would cast questions.
So, different format, but I'll
All
take
right,
it.
no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure, no.
Our technique this afternoon will be, I will ask a series of questions, and then each of the other counselors will have an opportunity to ask questions themselves. Good?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's begin, Justin, with asking, what is your most important trait to this new role? This new role of lieutenant, what do you bring to the equation?
The most important trait. It's difficult to narrow it down just to one specific trait, as the position of being an officer has so many that are key to being the appropriate officer and the best officer you can be. But I'd say my ability to lead and my leadership skills, which encompass many other things underneath it. I'd say my leadership skills are my strongest trait that will help me in this position.
Tell us a little bit about how that works itself out.
I find that through my training and whatnot, and if you take a glance at my resume, you'll see numerous classes that I've taken, as well as instructor classes. I've been able to learn how to manage, how to deal with, and how to try and get the best outcome out of the individuals that are working with you, not under you, working with you, because you're all working as a team. But I'd say overall, my leadership would be the strongest.
And have you had occasion to exercise that in terms of either shift assignments or training assignments or other places where you were in charge and following the direction?
Yes, sir. In acting, being the acting officer in many shifts, I take the initiative to try and at least bring a portion of the shift out in terms of training and trying to review things and if I can take an opportunity to make an individual better in terms of that shift, I'll take that opportunity to train them in something or to review something that'll make them better, and they'll take something out of that shift with me, hopefully.
A second question, what do you think is the most challenging part of being a lieutenant? Once you're in that job, what do you anticipate is going to be the most challenging attribute, or not attribute, but the most challenging circumstance, way of operating?
I think the most challenging thing, and it seems to be a fire service, sometimes general across the fire service, is keeping people motivated. A lot of fire service training is repetition. You don't get to practice it, but in order to be good at it, you have to continue. You have to be repetitive with your training. Keeping people motivated and keeping them interested is difficult, especially when you have to, every year right now it's time to let's do Scott Pack training again. All right, that Scott Pack training, it's all right, it's annoying, but you try and find a new way to you try and find a new way to deliver the training to try and keep people interested and keep them motivated.
Tell us what you've done to prepare yourself for this. What have you done?
I'd have to defer to my training. There's been numerous courses and classes that I've taken, EMS instructor, to be a fire instructor. And in those classes, it's not just about instructing, they teach you about leading and about working with the individuals that you're with as well. And the different personalities and characteristics that you may have to deal with and how to manage those, how to cope with those. So I'd say a lot of the training that I've done, being a paramedic as well, the highest level of EMS care that there's available, is also strong, is also a positive thing as well. Again, in terms of training the individuals who are EMT cardiacs or EMT basics, trying to bring them up to, a good standard and a good level of care is beneficial. I've assisted with writing grants in the department to try and improve the department and bring everything that I can to the table. I like being in a small town community. I enjoy it here, and I feel that I can offer a lot for it.
Over the years, whether here or elsewhere, you've had occasion to work with officers in which you were the subordinate, they were the officers. And it is common in this kind of an organization to look at those circumstances and say, when I get to be a lieutenant, I'm going to do that because that's a very effective thing at that person. Or conversely, when I get to be a lieutenant, that's something I'm going to remember and not emphasize, not do because I see the downside of negative stuff. Tell us about things that you've learned from the officers with whom you serve, either without being specific as to names of the other, or the condition that you will either emulate or set aside.
So a big thing that I've found through EMS and in the fire service is that even as I've instructed people, you're not going to like what everybody does or doesn't do, but you have to find what's going to work best for you and what's going to be positive for you. So in a lot of officers that I've worked with, I've found that in dealing with people that have positive outlook, all right, somebody has knowledge to bring to the table. Let's utilize that knowledge in our training, and let's let the younger guys have a say in how the training goes. So start the training, let it go, and then see where the younger guys take it with their thoughts and their ideas, but also staying on track. Don't be so closed-minded to the other thoughts and that people have. That's one of the biggest positive things that I've taken. And then negative would be, or the negative one would be on the other side of that coin, would be where people just shut off to people. When you have somebody of an experience, of an expertise, or of knowledge, utilize that. A lot of people don't because they might feel that they know it all. You're always learning something in the fire service, even if it's your 29th year and your 364th day. There's still a chance that you're going to learn something. So you have to be open-minded to that. And I find that some officers are very closed-minded to that and can be closed-minded to that. And that can be a big damper on the fire service and can kill morale big time.
So tell us a little bit about how you make that work. I'm in the midst of a training session that I had anticipated. Here's where we're going to go. Here's what we're going to do. And you decide that there's somebody here that's got an idea and I'd like to encourage them. How does that work out?
If they speak up, let them speak up and take their idea and go with it and say, all right, nothing in the fire service is textbook. Just like as you probably learn in the military and plumbing and every other trade that you guys have, or what you may do for business, nothing is textbook. Exactly. So you kind of have to go with those ideas and say, all right, well, this is a new idea, new concept. Let's see where we're going to go with this. Keep it positive, keep it safe, and incorporate it into your training to see, all right, what idea do we have to offer? And, you look at it from a different angle because, again, nothing's going to be perfect when you go up to a fire or up to an EMS call. So you have to remember to be open-minded to that and allow them to have their opportunity to say and see how it works.
The position of lieutenant has a number of possible kinds of assignments. What duty of a lieutenant are you most interested in pursuing? What would you like to do?
I've always said, I'm more of an EMS guy than a firefighter. So in being a paramedic, EMS definitely is my forte. In terms of caring for EMS training or supplying the ambulance or whatever it would be, EMS would definitely be my forte over the fire service, over the fire side. And not that I neglect it, but that's just where my strong.
For those of us who don't really understand what the different titles you carry have, can you tell me what's the difference between a cardiac, an EMT, basic EMT cardiac? What is the basic difference in layman's terms?
So an EMT basic can also render first aid a little bit beyond first aid, where they can help administer an individual's medications, but a very limited list. They can help administer a metered dose inhaler, or they can help take somebody take their prescribed nitroglycerin. So the EMT basic is somewhat limited. So they're first aid and a little bit above. CPR trained as well. EMT cardiac can start to begin giving medication, starting IV. They can read the cardiac monitor. Now, there isn't a standard for them to be able to read what we call a 12 lead, which is someone's having a heart attack. That's what you take as a 12 lead. Not all cardiacs are trained up to a high level of standard for reading 12 leads. It depends on how interested that individual, how motivated they are to want to learn. So it's up to them.
Can you do that?
As a paramedic, paramedics are required to. The EMT cardiac can give a handful, can give about a dozen or so, a little more than a dozen medications now with the current protocol. A paramedic can give up to about 40 medications now in the protocol, in the EMS protocol that paramedics can give. A simple way to put it is the cardiac is kind of a cookbook medicine. It's all right, you have X, Y, and Z, you're going to treat it X, Y, and Z. But if you get off that textbook stuff, then they might be thrown into a little tizzy because it's not textbook. A cardiac and a paramedic is made to think a little bit more outside the box and think about the chemistry as to why the body breaks down the drugs the way it does and why they metabolize the way they do and why you give that over that drug. So there's a little bit more of a science to it that the paramedics focus on as opposed to at the cardiac level. They don't force that. That's not required.
Okay. So according to the contract we have, you qualify to apply for the lieutenant's position. What qualifies you to apply?
Per the contract, it was being 3 years of active service in the department, and that was really just about it. The rest was, the promotional process was based upon, as you guys are aware, that the scores of the test interviews, and we added educational points into it as well.
Justin, what makes you more qualified to become a lieutenant or Sam?
Well, we'll take Sam out of it and we'll talk about Justin. I honestly truly feel that I have trained and I've put forth a lot of dedication to move forward. And honestly, I'd have to thank the council for allowing me to be here tonight, because 4.5 years ago, had you guys not said, hey, we'll hire Justin, I wouldn't have that opportunity to be here today. But since I've come through the door, I made a promise to the council that I would be wholeheartedly committed to this community. I've been a big push for the community, for the fire department, and for the union to be more public, to be more public friendly, and to try and turn a tide of what I had heard was bad. I've been a big proponent of, right, let's be better on the public eye. Let's do more public outreach. I initiated a Santa breakfast this year would have been our 3rd or 4th year conducting the Santa breakfast. Unfortunately, COVID. I threw in another idea. We're going to do a Santa ride. I just feel like I can bring more to the table in terms of keeping this department going in a good direction. I believe I've shown that in a lot of what I've done so far, and I only hope to be able to continue and plan to continue to see this department in the right direction, regardless of the outcome.
Okay. The other question I had is, do you think you would make a better lieutenant? You kind of answered it with that one. Our first one was qualified, and this one's better. So obviously, by your answer there, I think you would. And you're correct, and I'm probably the guy that asked the question when we first hired you, is that we're looking for somebody who's gonna stay here long term, and that's still your plan to stay here long term,
You know,
not jump ship.
absolutely not, sir. I've said it, like I said, when I was sitting there being interviewed, I was sitting there next to Chief Fetch, and I was asked where I see myself in the future. And I still hold true to that. I hope to be sitting there one day with 5 bugles interviewing the new candidates to come in one day.
That's it for me.
You mentioned a couple of initiatives that you had started with the breakfast. And, I was reading you helped author a couple of the narratives for a couple of these grants that the fire department received. Are these things that the chief asked you to help out with, or that you prompted and asked that you be a part of that, or how did that work?
So
Specifically with the grants.
specific to the grants, the chief had reached out to me and asked them, I'm assuming it was due to my nature, my history. I believe I'm a decent writer. I can put good thoughts together. As you know, we had 2 successful grants, unfortunately, this last year. Not so much, but next year's another shot.
Mhm.
I was reached out and asked to assist with those.
Mhm.
And I enjoyed doing them, and it's definitely a joy to see them go through, and a little bit of a kick to see them not go through. But I enjoy doing them.
Thank you.
You have questions?
I do not have any questions.
Very good. I think we're finished.
Thank you for your time this evening.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations on your election.
Thank you.
All right, then.
Chief, who has the more qualifications like paramedic and all these other, he does just,
If you're gonna talk, you should use this mic
Um,
or sit up.
Firefighter Texera is a paramedic. And firefighter And
that doesn't really tell me.
Wait, Bob, say that again. You said firefighter Hussey is a what?
Cardiac.
Oh, okay.
To put it in perspective, Wayne Montgomery is a paramedic. And until we began hiring under our new process for that hiring, that was all we had. So it's a deliberate attempt to get the community more paramedics.
So-
I think I meant Wayne the
Montgomery.
I was wondering, I said, I don't recall him being a.
My apologies to Mr. Montgomery. Wayne the dearest.
So I,
Firefighter Texera had 9 educational points, and firefighter Hussey had 6 educational points.
right, so just for my clarification, on these EMT things, the basic is the lowest, and then you go to a cardiac, and then a paramedic, and the paramedic encompasses the cardiac in the basic program.
Correct.
So paramedic is the highest one.
Yes, sir.
So he can do cardiac also.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I just,
Well,
That's why I asked the question. Just to figure out which one.
well, I mean, if you're a paramedic, then, you get A, and then if you go to the next step, you get A and B, and then you go to the third step, you're A, B, and C. I guess I'm assuming the paramedic is A, B, and C.
right.
So,
Not surprisingly, this is a challenging situation. We have 2 very capable interviewees, I thought. The questions were handled. You notice the written test is almost a dead heat. The oral exam, firefighter Hussey had a better oral exam. Length of service, he has 2 more years than firefighter Texera. And the educational points again is firefighter Texera, due to his certification as paramedic and his other work that he's done, that is listed here. really a very small difference in terms of what comes to us. Our job is to take what we're given as a recommendation by the chief and make a decision between one or the other.
So the chief hasn't made a recommendation between these two, or you have?
No, I don't, we want to be.
Just a question, just a question.
No, I want to publicly say that that's what the chief said. He is here as an observer. He has not made a recommendation to refrain from that because the contract says he is to present the two highest scoring and we're to make a decision.
I just, and I'll
Yeah.
base it on what we have in front of us from the promotion exam. Like you said, in the oral, Mr. Hussey was 10.66, and Sarah was 8. In just that area, what happened today, I don't know if maybe Mr. Hussey was nervous today, but I think Sarah seemed to do better orally than Hussey did in that one area. So I'm talking about. He seemed a lot more confident. I think Sarah seemed a lot more confident, a lot more, make his words flow.
And I would agree, and I think there is some.
That's surprising. Seeing that there was a difference in this thing, that's surprising.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Remember that look in the middle of the paragraph. On October 27th, firefighters interviewed by fire chiefs from Tiverton, Portsmouth, and Middleton. Again, I was not present for that, but my supposition is it was a more technical interview in which, or it may have very well been questions that caught one person or the other off guard. But yeah, it does appear to me that the candidates today, that candidate Texera and Hussey both performed well in terms of confidence in front of the interview. There was probably.
What kind of questions are asked in the oral interview with the other chiefs?
Three chiefs, deputy chiefs, they developed their own questions just prior to the other things prior. There were questions that I assume I wasn't present. They did ask SOPs, using regulations when they have a scenario. And other than that,
So
basically like the way you guys did it.
but more technical to the job than, yeah.
Not necessarily.
Mhm.
From a chief's perspective, hiring someone who's going to be his immediate subordinate, what kinds of things might be, it'd be different than the rest.
Chief, did Sam ever go for any kind of grants? Did Sam, no. Well, I'm looking at the last page and I think it's kudos to Justin for giving us this paperwork. Seems like he's been really doing an outstanding job. And that I'm looking by this, I don't know what your knowledge of it is, because obviously you're with him every day, but I mean, he's firefighter of the year in 3 or 4 different places. Plus, even when we interviewed you, I asked everybody, are you any kind of a grant writer? Because it's very important for me for this town to get grants to keep the taxes low. And I'm very impressed what he did here. So I don't know if we want to make a motion, but I would be leaning towards Justin Texera as the lieutenant, and that's only my thought. But I think he interviewed well. I'm very impressed, as I just said, with the grant writing he's done. He said he's a good grant writer. He's saying very forthcoming. It seems to me like he's getting community oriented, which I think is a good thing. He's living in Tiverton now, so he's close by. So that would be my feeling that Justin would, in my opinion, be the better lieutenant.
Yeah. Sorry, Paul. Yeah, I don't question either one of their commitments, to this town, but I was impressed by Justin's initiative. Talking about his community outreach initiatives that he's been a part of and looking at some of the awards that he's received and the help with the grants the last couple of years. I do find that very impressive. And I think that does display very good leadership skills.
So I feel both fairly well tied, right up until when you asked the question about their interest. And Justin was all about the EMS side of it. And Sam was more about the fire side. So it put me in a quandary because do I want to pick something that's more EMS oriented, or do I want to pick something that's more fire oriented? My gut is to lean, and I hope it's not my age. my gut is I want to lean to the EMS side because that is in all deference to the fire department, that's the majority of their job. They run that ambulance like crazy. You know, so that is to be the job. Fire service is just as important, but to be what they do. So I don't believe in just that. That to me was a little bit of a tiebreaker between the two right there. So obviously
And just to comment on that, Justin did mention, even though the paramedic part is his interest, he's still qualified to do the other, the other part of the job too, which is a plus.
I am inclined toward firefighter trustee only, but primarily on the basis of his record before he came. And I would acknowledge that both of them were very capable in the interview. But I would have no problem at all supporting the fact that three of us are persuaded in one direction. And it is not a surrendering on my part. All right. Because I am very close in terms of my evaluation. If it were only me, I would say that I would give the nod to firefighter. You have made some important distinctions. So I'm glad we're doing it this way because I'm fine with that.
well, again, two candidates, two great candidates, there are no glaring huge differences as far as cost period.
And the service reputation of both of these, and just from my discussion with the people of years, just the way in which they have been referred to, they are both very much team players. We would not be really throwing something away if we said, let this one. I just think that we've got two great candidates, and you're right. The next opportunity will be a little bit downstream, I think. But clearly, I'm very grateful that we've got somebody as comfortable as whoever we don't choose today. Very good to step in. So we should then make a decision. We should do that. Not really do a motion.
Well, we're still in open session. I'll move, let's see what I get.
I'll move Justin Texano. Right, and the reason why and I'm not really basing it on both their oral dissertations today, I'm basing it on that Justin seemed like he wants to be a firefighter. He wants to be an EMT. Not that Sam doesn't, but it seems like he was very forthcoming on what he would do as lieutenant with his training. And to agree with Paul, we don't have that many fires. We do have fires, but we don't have that many things. We have an elderly population, so I think it behooves us to put somebody that we can trust with our lives and with the lives of the residents of town. And it seems like Justin's a go-getter for that, and that impressed me. And I think that's the most important aspect of the fire department, is taking care of our elderly population, taking care of anybody that has needs in this town, health-wise, health issues. And it seems like it's a life or death situation in the ambulance. It was just a chimney fire at Secana Point, and the chief is such a good chief that he had fire trucks from everywhere come in to help out. You know, fire, as terrible as they are, aren't life and death. So I'd like to see somebody as a go-getter as what Justin is for any EMT, kayak, and fireman. So
That's your motion. then.
that would be my motion with an explanation why.
I'll second it.
So the motion is made by Councilor Mataronis, and seconded by Councilor Moore, that firefighter Justin Texera be promoted to lieutenant. Is there any further discussion?
Only that it was a tough decision. It was not easy. And as newly elected, almost certified electors to the council, we have to pick what we consider the best for the town's needs, not our personal needs. We have to figure what's best for the town. I think we've done the right thing.
We'll then have a roll call vote. Councilor Mataronis,
Aye.
Councilor Moore,
Aye.
Councilor Zelda,
Aye.
Councilor Washington, aye. 4 votes in favor, and that's the only business we have before us. Unless someone has something.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
The four people present are indicating by their
Jumping up out of their seats.
that